All right, guys, I've been getting a lot of questions about this lease, and so I just want to take a quick second to explain it. The lease program works like this. There's only one place in the country, in the United States, that does this program. This lease is specifically designed for transporters, okay? And the reason the lease is Indiana, the reason the enterprise that's in Mishawaka, Indiana, that's the only one that does it. A huge majority of the RVs that are made in the United States are made right there in Indiana. And so I think the RV companies partnered with Enterprise to provide at least a truck to the RV transporters, and that's basically how it all got started. Now, what does it cost? Now, the prices have gone up a little bit since my last lease versus buy video, and so right now, here's how it works. You call up Faye, she's in charge of this entire program, and if there's a waiting list, you get put on the waiting list. If there isn't, she tells you what trucks she has right away. And there's a couple other people working there too, but I specifically work with Faye. She's the one that just hooked it up. So after you talk to her and your truck is ready, here's what happens. You get charged $3,700, okay? Now, that gets put on a credit card or debit card, and here's how this breaks down. $2,000 if they get a decline notice, you then don't get that $2,000 back. So if your card never gets declined, you get that $2,000 back. Okay, well now what about the other $1,700? Okay, so the other $1,000, so the $1,000 is your insurance deductible. You're obviously required to have insurance, and so deductible often is $1,000, and that's what that deductible is, $1,000 towards your insurance deductible. Little correction, by the way, is that the $3,000, the way it gets split up, actually isn't $2,000 and $1,000 like I said earlier. It's actually $1,500 and $1,500. So you have $1,500 for the deposit, and so that's like if that's for the $1,000 deductible on the insurance, and then you have the $1,500 for in case your card gets declined, and that last $700 is a one-time setup fee. It's a one-time setup fee to you, not per truck, okay? And that's the important part. So you pay it once, and then that's all. The next time you lease, you don't have to pay that $700 again. So that's your upfront cost, $3,700. But keep in mind, the rails come installed in the truck, but your trailer connection does not. So depending on whether you have a gooseneck or a fifth wheel, that's an additional cost that you'll also have to buy. So technically you could buy it on Amazon and just bring it there yourself. I had to go buy mine at Dually Depot, which wasn't too far. Theirs was, I believe I paid $136. I can double check the receipt, but I believe it was $136. As for your payments, the simplest way to explain it is it's just flat 22 cents a mile. That's it. That's your only recurring monthly charges. Whatever miles you did that month, that's what you pay. 22 cents a mile flat. There's only one caveat to the 22 cents a mile rule. There is a monthly minimum, right? And the monthly minimum, so 22 cents a mile, times the monthly minimum, which is 5,000 miles. So plan on doing at least 5,000 miles a month, which means your payment will be at least $1,100 per month. So as I'm editing on the computer, I realized that I didn't talk about two major things, okay? First of all, I didn't talk about how long does the lease even last, okay? So the lease lasts for 60,000 miles, and at 60,000 miles, you turn it back in, or like right before 60,000, like 55, 58, depending on when you're there. They call you up, they're in contact with you, you tell them how many miles you have and so on and so forth. And so right around there, probably 55 to 60, they bring the truck back in. You need to let them know in advance if you're gonna keep leasing, because then they'll have another truck ready for you, okay? And so this is the important part, that you call them ahead and you tell them, hey guys, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna lease, and then they'll have another truck for you. So
60,000 miles lease, basically 22 cents a mile for all of those miles, gives us $13,200 total spent. So the longest it can take you is just about 12 months. If you do the just over the minimum every month, it'll take you about 12 months. But because I'm doing this full time, I fully expect to have a new truck in less than 6 months, because I do 10 to 11,000 miles a month. So I go hard, I go full time, I nonstop. The only reason I stop is like right now I'm doing a restart. The other thing I forgot to talk about in the video, so I got to do it while I'm editing now, is I didn't talk about the maintenance much. Okay, now it's very simple. All your maintenance is covered. Now there isn't much maintenance, obviously, but Faye told me that if towards the end of the lease your tires are bad and they're at the security thread or whatever, or they're or they're worn down that much, they will put new tires, and that's also included. She says sometimes they do have to do that.
Oil changes. When are you supposed to do them? So Faye told me you have a window of opportunity between 8,000 miles and 10,000 miles to do the oil change. Now, your first one is your oil change. Your second one is your oil change and fuel filters, and then it alternates, right? And so the third one. So basically, the best way to think about it, I think, is if it's odd, then you do just the oil. If it's even, then you do oil and fuel filters. So if you just keep track of that, but realistically, you're only going to do it 6 times. So it's not like this massive thing that you got to think of, because at 60,000 miles, that's when your lease ends, and you're going to turn it back in.
And so that's your service for the truck for your first lease, or like basically every lease, because you just do 6 oil changes and 3 fuel filters. And I think that's it. And that's how they run all their trucks, whether it's Ford or Ram. But basically, so that's the maintenance. It's all included. You don't pay any extra.
You have a choice for insurance, okay? You're required to have comprehensive coverage, yes. But the comprehensive portion of it, you can choose where that comes from. You can choose to add comprehensive to your commercial policy, or Enterprise offers insurance, which is $225 a month for a $1,000 deductible and $350 a month for full coverage comprehensive. Your monthly minimum payment, if you choose to go the Enterprise route, will be $1,100, which is 5,000 miles a month, times 22 cents, right? And the 225 or the 350, depending on which insurance you choose. I'm reading some of the comments and questions about the lease, and so I want to make sure I'm, giving good info. So yes, Faye does allow, Enterprise does allow to put a fuel tank if you want. I don't want to, so I'm not. But that leads me right away to the bed. I scratched my bed already on the inside, and if you put a tank in it, it'll like vibrate and stuff, and it'll also scratch. And so I asked Faye right away, I'm like, hey, what about scratches in the bed? And she says, it's totally fine, don't worry. They actually put a bed liner in there when you turn the truck in. So right when you turn the truck in, they take it to their place and they put a bed liner in it, so everything gets covered. So she said the important part, as long as there's no gashes or like big dents. So don't go dropping cinder blocks in your bed and stuff like that, and you'll be totally fine. I asked Faye, I'm like, what if the places that you take them, which is Goodyear and Firestone nationwide, are too busy to get you in? What do? She responded, call the local Enterprise in the city that you're at when it's time to do an oil change, and they can tell you where you can go to get it done quicker. So that's the other pro tip.
The last and final tip is, do not waste your money or time on a splitter. Here's why. So depending on what kind of ELD you have, I have Keep Trucking, and Keep Trucking doesn't work very well with a splitter. And so what happens is, when you run the little thing that they give you and you Keep Trucking through a splitter that I got on Amazon, it doesn't work very well. And so what ends up happening is the logbook doesn't work, and the geotab, that's what it's called, it doesn't work well either. And because of those issues, they do give the drivers the permission to unplug the geotab and just plug in only the ELD. And so once a week, Faye will call me and she'll say, Alex, what's your mileage? And then I give her the miles, and she'll charge me according to what I told her.
So basically, that's how the lease works, guys. I will have a definitive answer on what's more worthwhile. That's not what this video is. This is just what you can expect, how much it'll cost you. So let me know your comments down below. If you have questions, I will try to answer all of them. That'll do it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.